Yesterday, instead of doing that job, which is a customer's job, and because it's the weekend, I decided to do that on Monday rather than use my weekend. I wanted to get on and do this job before it snows, which will probably next week. So I decided to change the steering. So I lifted it up with a forklift, as you can see, put some big stands underneath it so it's nice and safe. And we stripped out all the right-hand drive parts off and started to fit left-hand drive. Now, to do that on a right-hand drive, on the early ones, the swivel housing that fits here is different. It's over here, look. I've got all the parts lined up for you. This is a right-hand drive one, and this is a left-hand drive one. On the later axles, they were both left and right-hand drives. That saved us an awful lot of trouble. These parts came off a Disco 1, which is a treasure trove of finding parts, because Disco 1s are usually scrapped and you can get them for next to nothing. So there's got a lot of bits and pieces that's common with the Defender, which is really handy. And because these bits cost a fortune, an absolute fortune, a king's ransom almost. Just this part alone, this part here, this arm, I just priced this up this morning. That is nearly 700 Canadian dollars for that piece. If we look in our snap-on wheelbarrow, this is a right-hand drive one. You can probably see it's completely different. It's completely, so you can't put a right-hand drive one and a left-hand drive one. That's scrap. So we throw that away. I also put a Disco 1 steering box in. Now, I didn't really want to put a Disco or an Adwest type box on like this, simply because they always leak. But again, these are getting old now, so I just wanted to mention about these steering boxes. They leak from this shaft or down here. I've rebuilt them in the past and they last about 6 to 8 months and then they leak again. If a customer comes in, all I do is tell them honestly to fit a new box. Many years ago, my supplier Britpart used to supply reconditioned steering boxes, and they had so many problems with them, I think, that they stopped doing them because they send out new, they were leaking, and to send them 3,000 miles and finding the leak was a bit of a trouble. So now they just do genuine Adwest full brand new ones, and they're quite reasonably priced considering the amount of work it is to take them on and off. The rebuilt ones are good for a while, but I don't know, they're never quite the same. I really wanted to fit a P38 steering box on there, but I couldn't get hold of one in time. I wanted to get this on the, moving before the snow comes. Anyway, I had this box in stock and it didn't leak. It's out of the Disco 1. You see, there was no leaks in it. It wasn't. That's exactly how I took it off. I never even washed it, never cleaned it. So that was good. So you need a steering box of a Disco 1. You need this arm of a Disco 1, and you need the swivel housing that goes onto there of a Disco 1. The panhard rod or the radius arm, you can just swap it over. But you also, most importantly, you need this bit. That's called a link eye, or no, that's called a cross eye. That's right, it's a cross eye. And again, it's completely different to a right-hand drive one. Scrap. Kaput. Now they are only from Land Rover, then they're quite expensive, but that's the really expensive part you've got to pay. Steering damper, that was good, swap that over. And you can see there's the left-hand drive drop arm. I fit brand new ones onto them, new swivel balls, because they are left-hand drive. And I just want to show you over here. I know this is going to be strange, but I'm going to show you this one. Inside here, there's what's called a master spline. There's 4 of them. They look absolutely identical to a right-hand drive one. And I've had a customer once came in and converted to left-hand drive, and he found out it was like he could turn 75% steering one way and only 25% the other. And what he'd done is he put a right-hand drive drop arm onto a left-hand drive car. It is crucial that they fit. Now another thing is, getting these drop arms off is a nightmare. Even I struggle. I've bent my drop arm puller, couldn't get the damn thing off. So what I resort to doing is hacking it away with a grinder. The reason for that is, like I want to show you on here, if you put a chisel in here and try and hammer it off, you're stressing all the pieces inside. It doesn't work. You can't heat them up because you'll burn the seals. So this looks kind of crude, but what I'm doing is I'm chopping it away, making it thinner and thinner. And the heat generated by the grinder and the slitting disc makes it quite easy to get off. And then all it does is, you need a big hit with a hammer, and you put this onto a concrete block and back off the nut, put it onto a block with a big bit of concrete with a hardwood pad, and beat the bejesus out of it, and it'll come off. Now another thing you'll need, you see these right-hand drives? The early ones had a big boss on here, can you see? This is a Disco 2 one. I keep calling them Disco 2s. This is a Disco 1, and it was ambidextrous. You could put it on either way, so that was good. So you need one of those as well. Save you a lot of money. So that's the parts you need. So what did we find when we stripped this axle? Well, this side was good. It still had a bit of oil in it. It didn't have that much. But I fill these up with molybdenum grease, and they never leak again. The swivel balls, perfect. Absolutely perfect. See, not a mark on them. On this side, however, there was no oil in it whatsoever. And you can see there's something unusual here, and you can see where the CV joint had gouged into here. And you see that little V? That's a common cause, because people, there's on the end of the shaft, I'll show you in a later video, there's some shims and people don't put the shims in, so the CV can move in and out and in and out, and it does this. That's bad. That's going to really hurt. So the shims are really crucial. I'm going to show you in a later video, because we might do a few videos today of how I put this back together. I can't film and do it at the same time because I haven't got drones and things like that, like some people have. And so that's it. That's basically what you need. And all the brackets are already on the frame. You see, this is where it was right-hand drive. Where else? The brackets here are exactly the same on this side. They actually put them on, so it's actually only nuts and bolts. You need to do no welding whatsoever, but you've got to make sure everything's good. If it's not good, now is the time to replace it. All right, so I'll do another video a bit later